turtles and tortoises have to be the most neglected reptiles in the pet trade. And that's saying something because basically everything is neglected. I even asked on Twitter, I had a poll asking which reptiles were the most neglected, and they even agreed with me by quite a bit, and I never agree with people on Twitter. So I'm going to talk about some more specific species in this video, but we'll also talk about them generally speaking. There's this article people send me a lot. It's of this woman who's pretty old now, and she got this tortoise when she was 10 years old, and she's kept it her entire life, and his entire life. He's never been rehomed, and she's raised him ever since. And for that to be newsworthy, that should be enough proof off the bat to be able to write an entire article just talking about someone buying a pet and not getting rid of it, and that's impressive, is kind of completely depressing. I mean, I think it's great. I'm sure this lady's wonderful. I'm sure her tortoise is just lovely, and I'm very happy that they're still together, but the fact that this is a news piece really bothers me. That's why I hate that article, but I'm sure the people are cool. Also, you'll be seeing clips in this video of my turtle Franklin. You might be wondering why he's in a bathtub, but I'll talk about him in the second portion of the video. First, let's talk about neglect. They're just simply too easy to buy. Obviously, it is both the seller's responsibility to let the buyer know what they're getting, and the buyer's responsibility to do as much research as possible before getting an animal, but realistically speaking, this never happens. And the far majority of animals, especially exotic pets, are pretty much impulse bought by people who have never kept them before, who have probably seen or heard of them either in pictures or videos or whatever, or at least know what they are and end up purchasing one. Turtles and tortoises, especially red-eared sliders, who will be one of my primary focuses in this video, are so easy to find, and they are virtually free. In fact, they oftentimes are free. If not, they're $1, $2, $5, $10. They're so easy to breed, they breed so quickly, and they just reproduce at such a rate that there's no shortage of supply. You might have heard of little turtle keychains, which are somewhat popular in other countries around the world, where red-eared sliders are birthed out of an egg and instantly put into a sealed keychain. They're then sold to people just at markets or on the street for like 25 cents, $1, whatever, and then they just die in them. So we're not talking about really the international market. I definitely don't know much about it, but even within the United States, people are always sold these little teeny tiny red-eared sliders and other species, either in like a fishbowl style with just water or whatever. I think this is kind of evidence that regulation really is not going to help this issue. Regulation seems to rarely do much. It definitely, it hurts things a lot of times, and other times it can make a difference, but when it comes to red-eared sliders and turtles and tortoises, none of the laws are followed. The 4-inch law is completely ignored and not really enforced at all. The sale of certain species that are generally illegal because they're invasive in certain areas hasn't made a difference at all. It basically just only lets the bad people sell them while the good people follow the law. And yeah, anywhere, if you want an illegal animal, trust me, it's easy to find it. But if you want an animal, either way, whether it's illegal or not, you're not going to have much difficulty finding it. And most people don't know about the turtle laws in general because they just want a cute little pet to put on their office table. The other weird thing about turtles especially is they are always considered by just kind of the mainstream general people the cleanest, the cutest, and the easiest, which is weird because like this has even happened with me when I was trying to find places to rent. I'm like, can I bring reptiles? And they're like, what kinds? And I'm like, this and this and this. And they're like, well, none of it except the turtles, because I like turtles. Turtles are kind of cute. I had a couple landlords literally just say that. Turtles, no offense to all the turtles out there, they are the filthiest, dirtiest, sometimes smelliest, and biggest pain to keep, clean, and find space for. They're literally just swimming in their own poop all the time. They eat a lot, and that's normal, and it's healthy for them, but it also comes out of them somewhat quickly, and their water gets soiled somewhat quickly. You can use like a feeding tub or something to kind of cut this down a little bit, but I don't bother, and it doesn't make a huge difference. And my point in mentioning that is they're literally just floating in bacteria all the time. I don't think this is a huge concern for your actual health. Like, I'm not really concerned about getting salmonella from owning turtles, but the risk is the highest with turtles compared to any other reptile. In addition to this, they're the cutest. I don't know why that's, I think some turtles are cute. I don't really agree with that, but I guess that's completely subjective. And then they're the easiest, because I don't know why people think they're the easiest, although I do have a couple theories. The first is that they are the hardiest animals that I probably have ever worked with. To kill a red-eared slider is extremely difficult. They are so strong, they can withstand such extreme environments and everything. Like, just look at the United States. Red-eared sliders are invasive in basically every state that they're not native to. I'm sure there are some exceptions, but especially in North Carolina, they're everywhere. They're not from here. And North Carolina drops down to the 30s, 20s, and 10 degrees Fahrenheit. They don't care at all. They just dunk into the water and they just wait for it to pass over. They can stay under there for as long as they need. They can withstand extreme temperatures when it's really low, extreme temperatures when it's super hot, and they are just so strong that in captivity, it is very hard to kill your turtle. There's a lot out there that I wish were dead because them being alive in their current conditions is definitely worse. Even firsthand with some of my animals, like Franklin, the red-eared slider, he lived in a 20-gallon just filled up with water. Nothing in it, no lighting, no heating, no basking. For basically 10 years, he was just having to swim and swim and swim, and they would let him outside in a baby pool during the summer sometimes, but for the most part, 9 months a year, he was just constantly having to sit in water, and believe it or not, they don't really enjoy this. It's kind of similar to a person just living in a bathtub their whole life. Like, yeah, you can put your head up, you won't suffocate or drown, but imagine the prunes you're gonna have on your fingers. And in turtles, this turns into usually shell rot. I guess they're not considered scavengers, but they can really just live off of anything. They're omnivorous. They can live off of meats, insects, fruits, vegetables, just any plant matter, any living thing or dead thing. They'll just chomp away at it, and it's usually enough to keep them going. And they'll grow, and believe it or not, they grow even in small enclosures, unless they're not being fed, to which point they get stunted and basically starve, but not to death, because again, they are just so strong. And for that reason, there's not only a lot of turtles that get neglected that live a long time, but there's even more being neglected as we speak, because all those ones that were neglected starting 10, 15, or 40 years ago, they're probably still alive. They are animals, they die all the time, but you get what I'm saying. And with their actual husbandry, it's not very easy. There are hardy animals out there that don't actually need much, and they're actually content. But red-eared sliders do expect a lot when they poof into this world, and they're like, where is all my stuff? Which includes a lot of space to swim, space to bask, get completely dry, food. Okay, it's not that long of a list. It's actually not that hard now that I think of it, but it's mostly the space concern that is the issue. I've experienced this with my personal turtle, Franklin, who I already said his name like 4 times in this video, I keep forgetting. He's moved with me 4 times, and he is the biggest pain to find accommodations for in this house. But again, we'll get to him a bit later. Another issue is turtles, and especially tortoises, live a long time. Red-eared sliders' lifespans are somewhat similar to human lifespans. Tortoises, everyone knows, some of them live over 100 years easily. The thing is, say you're gonna get a dog. Most people prepare extremely well, or at least try to, for a dog. People impulse get dogs all the time, but they at least know, okay, for the next 10 to 15 years, this works for me. And even with a cat, even if it's up to 20, a little over 20 years, I have a general idea, kind of at least, of where I'll be in 1 or 2 decades, but you don't know where you're going to be in 60 to 150 years. I guess you do know where we're all going to be in 100 years. In about 60 years, let's say, with red-eared sliders. So it's basically almost guaranteed you're going to have to find a new home for them. And when everyone's getting them all the time, the amount of people who you're going to find to take it is pretty minuscule. I rehome animals, and I hate rehoming turtles. They are always the last priority because they are here for so long and they take up so much space. And that's basically it on the neglect side. Are turtles and tortoises the most neglected animal ever? I highly doubt it. It's probably a fish or a mammal, or maybe it is, I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's not really a competition. They're all pretty up there on the neglected scale. With Franklin, the reason he's in a tub right now is, it's hard to find him space. The first time I moved, I just used a small baby pool in a rental home that I was with. That was when I was living with my family. They knew that there would be some exotic animals, but they didn't know what they was going to be. And so Franklin, I'm sure he wasn't absolutely happy in the smaller tub, so that's why I started letting him out a lot, and that was such a pain. He developed shell rot again. I got him with shell rot, I cleaned it up and everything, and it healed, and then it came back a little bit, which you can watch all those videos if you want. I have a playlist, probably in the pinned comment, with all of my Franklin videos, and you can just see all of the experiences, because I filmed all of them. And from there, I moved again into a home that my family bought. I was able to set up just whatever I wanted, so that was nice. Got a big 120-gallon setup for them. And then after that, I moved to another rental who knew that I was bringing a turtle. And the problem was the house was too small to keep them inside. So North Carolina, the environment's pretty much fine. I put them outside on the porch, and that didn't go well with the neighbors at all. So I had to then move him back to my parents' house while I was living there. And then I moved again here. I can't put him outside. This is not my permanent home. He's in the bathtub. I'm trying to make it work the best I could. I just threw together a basking spot. It's just made of egg crate and PVC. It only took me like 20 minutes, and I am not good with tools or doing anything really. I don't think it's too bad. The space is limited. It's probably 60 or 70 gallons. Normally the rule I follow is 10 gallons per 1 inch of turtle shell, and also making sure it's at least twice as deep as the turtle to make sure they can flip over if they get stuck. Obviously the deeper the better, I think, but it's not for too much longer. So he has his basking and his UVB. He's able to climb up it no problem. It is pretty tight around the walking spot, and when I'm changing the water, which is really easy to change because I just go zoop, I pull the thing up, all the water drains, and I fill it back up, add some ReptiSafe, water change, done. Pretty easy. But I can still let him out, let him hang out and stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely experiencing it firsthand. Stan, I just threw his enclosure in the car, he's good to go. But Franklin, he can't just be in a small 40-gallon or whatever size in my room, especially because it's going to be full of water and I have to have a way to easily change the water and everything, so I don't enjoy moving them. And so now the question might be, well, what do we do about it? I don't know. I honestly have no idea. It's kind of hopeless. I've lost complete hope for the reptile trade improving. I really don't think it'll ever happen, even if we went as regulatory as physically possible. Let's say in theory, everyone here all agreed on the perfect guidelines for reptile care, and we somehow convinced the government to follow every single guideline absolutely perfectly. The likelihood of us all agreeing is 0%. The likelihood of the government doing this is 0%, but this is just in our theoretic dream world. Well, the government kind of has bigger things to worry about than, turtle care. Obviously, there's branches of the government, there's sectors, there's whatever, there's all these resources, so it's a lot of people. But even if we had infinite money to do all of this, it's just, you can't really figure out who has turtles, how they're being cared for, who's breeding them, who's taking them in, who's wild catching them, all this stuff. It's never going to be perfect. And even if it did get improved a lot, there's so many species, every species is so different, everyone disagrees on what to do for the species. My point in this tangent is the government is not useful here, or in many places in general, but especially not here. So from there, there's the classic education, and realistically, I guess the easiest thing is just learn yourself. And if you see a friend or a family member thinking of getting a turtle or something, or any animal, you just gotta politely tell them that they're an idiot. If you see a stranger doing it, like at a pet store, it's a bit harder. I've heard a lot of you have actually convinced strangers at pet stores to either not get an animal or get a different setup for an animal, which is very impressive. Good on you for doing that, but obviously a lot of strangers are not going to go over that well, being told by some random person that they're doing everything wrong. Hey, feel free to write a comment. How do we fix this issue? I don't think we can. I'm just making a video about it so that you know about it, you know my thoughts on it, and there's a little bit more information out there for people that might be seeking it themselves or just stumble upon this video. Because we didn't even get into the whole releasing your pet turtles thing, or pets in general. So invasive animals, that's a whole nother can of little tiny turtles that are sealed shut and being sold at a gift shop. I guess that'll be it for this video. I look forward to getting Franklin back into his 120-gallon sometime this year once I have a different place, and that'll be fun. I'll do another video on that. What do you think are some of the other most neglected animals? What are the least neglected animals, if that's a thing? I'm guessing it's probably the really expensive exotic reptiles, but yeah, that's it for this video. I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.